Hello, Ambius. Welcome to the technical part of our June 2024 connection meeting. We're going to be looking at flow meters today and how they can help. We'll look at the benefits of flow meters and overall how they work. So let's get into it. So we're looking at the flow meter type called Save a Drop flow meter. It's an inexpensive water meter that counts the water flow in gallons or liters. And for plant care specialists, a flow meter is going to be most useful on a water machine. So it gauges the water flow in both directions, meaning it can count gallons of water going into or out of your water machine. And this can be helpful for several reasons. First, you can gauge how many gallons of water your tank actually holds. And this can vary from one location to another because water pressure changes from one building to another. You can also tell when your water tank has actually filled all the way up. And finally, some places require us to put the amount of water that we put on a particular tree. For example, Apple wants to know how many gallons of water we've added per tree, and this flow meter allows us to do that. So let's take a look at how it works. This unit is a battery-operated flow meter. It has a digital display showing the number of gallons or liters of water that's passed through it. And we'll get into some more of these details in just a few minutes. The flow meter can be threaded onto any standard hose fitting. So to use it, you would just thread the meter onto one end of your water machine hose. To turn it on, press any button to turn on the display. And the unit itself, it doesn't have an off button. So after about 10 minutes or so, it'll just auto shut off on its own. So here we're going to use the flow meter to figure out two things. The first is we want to determine how many gallons of water our machine is going to fill up in this building. This water machine tank is 20 gallons in size, but the bladder takes up 4 gallons of that space on the inside. So this means that the maximum amount of water this tank can hold is 16 gallons. Even though this tank is properly pressurized, we're going to soon find out that in this building, it's not going to get anywhere close to the 16 gallons because the water pressure in the building here is relatively low. Now, you might be thinking, why would you want to know how many gallons of water the machine holds? The main reason we want to know this is because we're fertilizing. We want to mix 1/4 teaspoon of fertilizer per gallon of water. If we don't know how many gallons of water are in the machine, we're not able to add the right amount of fertilizer correctly. The second thing that's good to know is the tank actually full or not? So typically, if you don't have a flow meter, it's hard to know if your tank is completely filled up. The readout on the meter is going to let us know when the tank is full, when the numbers stop increasing. You can also, if you want, use your phone to clock the amount of time it takes to fill up your water tank in a particular location. So here we're going to demonstrate from start to finish how you would typically use the meter. So first we're going to zero out the display by pressing on the right button. Next we're going to thread the flow meter onto our hose, which we then thread onto our water source like we normally would. And then we're going to go ahead and turn the water on. And if you want to determine how long it takes to fill your tank, you can start that timer now. We're going to watch the digital display as the water is added. You're going to see the numbers continue to go up. And when the numbers stop going up, that's when your tank is actually full. That's the amount of water your tank is going to hold at this particular location. If you have been timing it, you now know how long it takes to fill that tank at this location. It is possible for water pressure to change in a building at different times of day, but in general, it shouldn't fluctuate drastically. The only other way to know how much water is in your tank is to actually fill up buckets and measure it out manually. But I think what you're going to find is using the water meter, the flow meter, is a lot easier than having to manually count how much water your machine holds. So you can also attach the flow meter to your infuser tube when you're adding fertilizer. Now, if you want to go from gallons to liters or vice versa, you do this by holding down on the left button until the screen blinks at the bottom. Then you toggle between gallons to liters using the right button, and then finally place the left button to hold the unit in place. These flow meters are also specified for measuring and recording water volumes for containerized trees at Apple stores. So if you have an Apple store, expect to be using one of these soon. I'd encourage all specialists to have a flow meter. You might be surprised how much or how little your water machine is holding at any given time or location.